Well, welcome everybody. I can't see any of you, so I don't know how many there are of you, but I appreciate you taking the time to come and listen to my presentation today. If for any reason you need to reach me, my phone number is right on the first slide. You also have my email address. I'm happy to field any and all questions. Don't be afraid to contact me for whatever reasons, even if you think it's a silly question. I'll certainly do my best to help you. I know there's challenging times for everyone, so hope everyone is healthy and safe. All right, so let's get started. Just a really quick overview. I started the company in 1994. I graduated from the University of Michigan. And essentially for a long period of time, we were a traditional agency. We did outdoor signage, direct mail, any kind of marketing collateral, trade, consumer advertising. In 2008, I made a strategic shift in our business model, and we started focusing on small to mid-sized companies, essentially businesses that were doing anywhere from maybe 500,000 to 20 million. That's pretty much our sweet spot, although we do have clients above that. And so we're a full digital agency. We do SEO, email marketing, pay-per-click, influencer marketing, Amazon. We sort of do it all. I was asked to originally speak when we were going to do all of this in person, and the talk has changed a little bit because basically the feedback is that people wanted something a little bit more 101-ish, in part because a lot of you may have smaller marketing groups now than when you first started. So you may have been a group of 8, or maybe you're a group of 5, or maybe a group of 50, and now some of you have been moved into either a new direction or new area, or you're given more responsibilities. And from my perspective, when we work with e-commerce clients, the first area or the easiest win is in email marketing, because you already have an existing set of satisfied buyers, as well as a warm list of prospective buyers. So the problem that usually happens when you're talking to management is they go line by line in the Google Analytics and they say, boy, email marketing isn't really doing much for us. What are we doing here, right? Like people talk about the 36 times holy grail, right? Like for every dollar you invest in email marketing, you should get $36 back. Well, that is true. And so the problem is obviously you're under a lot of pressure to deliver revenues and results, and you need a win, right? And so today is how I can help you generate a win. And when I mean a win, I mean like within 2 weeks or less, I can help you start generating revenues if you follow along with today's process. So the customer life cycle is something that is not well understood, at least in my experience, because I talk to a lot of e-commerce companies, not just DTC, but companies who have viable businesses doing big dollars. And there's not a lot of understanding or discussions about what the life cycle of a customer is like. So what I have is I've stolen this graphic. I found it online somewhere. But basically, this is sort of the process of how it all works with a prospect, and then how we increase revenues, or CLV, customer lifetime value, or what's the other one they say? I don't know. LTV, lifetime value, right? Everyone's got a different term for it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to focus on automations, okay, and helping you set those automations up. We're not going to worry so much about the creative, although I'll give you a few samples. But a lot of creative you could just take off the internet in terms of language and so forth and so on. Obviously, it depends on your brand and your messaging. But the first place that we want to start with on an e-commerce, when starting with e-commerce is we want the subscriber welcome, right? This is your biggest and fastest way to get a lot of quick hits, a lot of revenue, and build that database of potential customers, okay? Most everybody has a welcome. Like it's really surprising in e-commerce if I don't find someone with a welcome. Browse abandonment is the next phase. So now the consumer has looked through, or it could be a B2B, excuse me. They've looked through some products. Now we want to come back with an automation for anything they've looked at, right? To get to say, hey, we've seen you're interested in this, the next phase. The next one is cart abandonment. And believe it or not, a lot of people don't have a cart abandonment. This is a really important, all of these are important. I've only given you the ones that are most important. But cart abandonment, someone's placed something in the cart, and for some reason, they're easily distracted. They get off task. They start looking at something else. They're on web. They're on their desktop and the mobile and yada, yada, yada. New customer thank you. Here we want to appreciate our customer. Review request. I'm not a big fan of this, but it was in the graphics, so I didn't take it out. We have the upsell and the cross-sell. Then later on, and it's not in here, we're going to talk about the checkout abandonment, because that is different, right? Like browse, cart abandonment, checkout abandonment. And then we're going to talk about loyalty, which is in the VIP. And we're going to we'll talk a little bit about win back. But this is sort of the life cycle of our customer and what we're going to want to try and achieve today. So one thing that I'm really big on, and again, I don't see this when I talk to companies, is they don't have a visualization map. In other words, they don't know what that process looks like from a flow standpoint. Sort of like when you hire a program, they write, if X, then Y. If, not X, then this. If Y, then so forth. And so what this visualization map does is it lets you essentially create channels. In each channel, there's an automation. And then within that automation, you have a sequence of what may or may not happen, okay? And what you want the user to do. This is sort of the blueprint or the site map, right, for those of you who are website builders, of creating your email architecture. If you don't have this, I strongly suggest you sit down. There's plenty of tools you can use on the web, or you can use PowerPoint that sort of create these, or you simply could just take a piece of paper and write okay, visitor hits website, if haven't seen this, they get that, so forth and so on. And so I would strongly encourage you to create an automation visualization map, because it's very helpful. And the reason why is some of these timing sequences and the filters, you might have the welcome message, okay, it comes out 2 hours after the user sees it, right? And then now you want to send a second welcome. You'll say, okay, I want to do it in 24 hours from now. And then in a third one, maybe in 48 hours, right? So by having the map, you have all of this in front of you of what the sequencing is and when people get it. Because later on, if it turns out that it's not performing well, you may say, okay, let's change from 1 day to 3 hours or so forth and so on. So it's a good way to keep track of sort of in a one big visual picture what you're doing. If you have a boss or a supervisor, it's really impressive when you come to a meeting and you say, okay, here's our map. Here's what we're doing. Okay, well, now everyone can have a roundtable discussion about, is this visualization map working, or do we need to change anything? Are we missing something? I've just given you a cutout here. Most maps we do are quite extensive. There's many, many different channels. There's segments that are involved as well. So I'm just showing you a cutout of 3 here, but it would not surprise me in any good visualization map if you don't have 25 to 30 different sequences. So the list of automations that we're going to talk about today, I think, are the ones you really have to have. I think we talked about 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 9. I don't know what the 2 that we lost were when this topic came up a month ago, but these are the ones that I feel you really have to get in place and that can produce immediate wins right away. And again, when I say immediate wins, I really mean money, right? So I've seen clients who had automation flows generating 3% of total sales, and within 4 months, we're at 30%. I mean, it's really that simple. People do not come to a website on e-commerce unless they are looking to buy. Most of you, I bet your conversion rate is around 1%, maybe 1.2. If you're really a big player and doing well, you might be at 2%, right? So think about that. If you have, over the course of a year, you have 100,000 people visit your website and only 1% convert, that's 1,000 people. What are the other 99,000 people doing, right? There's a lot of people who are not doing business with you. And through automation, you can capture that. And not only can you capture that, but you can churn that dollars or those revenues really quickly. So again, we do SEO, we do pay-per-click, we do social media content creation, social media advertising, we do influencer marketing, we do all that stuff, right? But the easy win if you're in e-commerce, the no-brainer here is automation. Why? You are 4 to 7 times more likely to convert an existing customer than a new customer, right? However, someone who's given you their email address, that is a very warm lead. That is not a cold lead. That you have to churn. So what do the offers look like? All right, I'm at 9:12. I think I'm doing okay. I'm on time. The offers. You can mix and match. There's a million different combinations, and here's where your creativity gets really fun, and also where you can do testing A/B, right? You could try different things, see how they work out. So you can have a % off. You can spend X and get X amount of dollars off. So spend 50 and you get $10 off, right? You can have tier spend where you get increased savings, all right? So spend 50 and get $5 off. Spend 75 and get 10 off. Spend 100 and get $15 off. Excuse me. Or if you sell big ticket items, right, spend 500 and get, $50 off, right? Or, I mean, there's so many combinations to play with here. Free shipping, obviously, everybody loves free shipping. A lot of people expect it, especially if it's a certain amount. Free gift, if your company doesn't like giving away part of your margin, right? If you don't want to give away your gross profit, free gifts are nice because they usually can be less expensive if you buy them in quantity. Buy one, get one free, buy one, get two, whatever it is. If it's not e-commerce per se, maybe you're, building them up. Say you sell like a high ticket prize item, high ticket item that costs a lot of money. And in order to make that transaction, that there's a lot of education that's needed. Say, for example, it's not really e-commerce, but say you build actually, people do buy vinyl pools now online, but if you buy a pool, maybe you need a free guide, ebook, white paper, something educational, and then, of course, special deals or exclusive offers. And again, please feel free. This is where you really need to be creative in the offer section. So what I'm going to do here is I'm giving you the technical aspect, right? I'm not focusing so much on the creative in this presentation. I'm trying to give you what the technical components are, because this is the part that nobody understands. They don't know how to execute. They don't know how to build into the back end, right? So what does the automation sequencing look like, right? What is the filter flow? How is that all going to play out? And what do I need to do? So everything you're going to see here is, while I have the little bit of the graphic on the right, just to sort of stir your mind, everything's really here. This is the information that you need to recall or keep, or whoever, if you're working with an agency or a developer or whatever it is, you need to keep on hand. So obviously, a welcome series really, in my opinion, should have 4 series of automated emails, right? So when I sign up for the email, or when I sign up on your welcome offer, whatever that overlay is, I'm now in your system, and I'm going to get a series of 4 different emails in an effort for you, the e-commerce marketing expert, to sell this person, to convert them, to get them to transact, right? So the overlay should obviously have a strong visual, and it should have, obviously a very good offer. And the timing sequence, I mentioned this because some people like to do it right when you hit the website. Some people do it 30 seconds. Some people do it at 1 minute. You could do it at any time you want. Me personally, I don't like coming to a site and getting a pop-up right in my face. I don't even know what I'm doing, right? And so for me, I'm not a big fan of that. A lot of e-commerce companies, boom, that's the first thing you see. I'm not a big fan of it. I wouldn't do it, but it's all up to you. What you want to showcase in these series of emails are best sellers, could be one, new products, social proof, right? Or social media, join our social media. So you have the freedom and the flexibility to create different things. Don't just exclusively be like buy, buy, buy. Obviously that's in there, but that's not always the same message every time. So the first email should be immediate, in my opinion. Like immediate as in, I don't know, like 10 seconds, right? As soon as they sign up, they should get the email automatically. Make sure the offer is in the subject line. Make sure your company name is in the subject line. Don't go crazy with subject lines. People often make them too crazy. Make them very reptilian, very straightforward, like, you know, Nike, welcome Nike, $50 off, or whatever it is, or, you know, whatever that is. But don't get too crazy, okay? But make sure that they know who you're talking about. The second email, so say the first email is the welcome. The second email, let's say, has your best sellers in it. That should hit, in my opinion, 2 days after the first email, right? I don't want to hit them over the head. Again, this is all based on what works for your brand. You have to test this, but in my best practice, I wouldn't do it for 2 days. The third email might have a social proof showing something from one of your social media channels about someone being really happy, loving the product, or so forth and so on. Then I said the third. Then the fourth one could be the social proof, and again, or it could be new products. I mean, some people do seven in a welcome series. Now, it's not 7 in a row, as in like every day, right? You'll sort of kill the lead before you get there. But it's over a time. We're trying to build a relationship, right? The magic number, they say in sales, is you need seven touch points with a client before they really understand your value proposition, before they really understand why they should deal with you. Along in the technical part, if at any point anyone makes a purchase within one of these sequences, make sure that you drop them out of the welcome series, okay? Do not keep sending them the welcome series once they make a purchase. If they make a purchase after email 2, you need to program that in so that they don't get email 3 and 4, okay? And again, I always suggest that you recommend cross-sell products if you can, okay? And that's done through a feed. Like if you use Shopify, there's feeds where you can configure like best sellers, new products, promote products on sale, so forth and so on. Okay, by the way, I'm talking really fast because they said my presentation, which is an hour, needs to be in 30 minutes. So I'm trying to keep it mean and lean. If you have a comment or a question, you could type it in the sidebar as well. I have that open. Browse abandonment. Okay, so the browse abandonment is going to be a series of 2 emails. They should not have started the cart or the checkout. Very different automation, okay? So if I am in the welcome series, okay, I am not going to also be in the browse abandonment, okay, because I'm still in that welcome series. You have to be careful when you create these automations that you're doing smart filtering where you don't overlap or crash automations, because what you don't want to have is have like 5 different automations happening to the same customer, okay? I've seen that happen before. It's a killer, okay? So have not started cart or checkout. Browse abandonment is only applicable after the last 30 days, in the last 30 days, okay? If someone browsed something in 2 years ago or 90 days ago, they're not getting a browse abandonment. It has to be in the last 30 days. The email is going to hit after 2 hours, and then the second email hits 24 hours after that first one. Again, you're going to include, if there's some, usually some sort of offer in the second browse abandonment. The first one's like, we saw you're looking at this, sort of some sort of call to action. And obviously you're going to want to show them the product that they're looking at to remember what they just saw. Cart abandonment. Okay, here, now they're not browsing, or technically they're still browsing, but they put something into the cart, something that they're interested. Remember, the way you know they put something in their cart is they've already signed up for the welcome letter, right? You already have their email address, so you know they put something into the cart, okay? Here, we only do in the last 3 days, last 72 hours. I feel like once you get past 72 hours, they're not really so much of a serious buyer anymore, and we don't need to necessarily push them, okay? Again, this is my best practice. You have the ability to, try all of this on your own as you see fit, obviously. Again, the cart abandonment is 2 hours after they leave the site, and 24 hours, again, after the first email. Include the subject line. Strongly recommend here recommending something to cross-sell, because, again, if they're looking at something, here's your chance to say, oh, by the way, you might also like this as well, to include that. And I would consider here in the cart abandonment, in the second email, a discount if it's over a certain amount. Not the first one. The first one we want to try and see if we could just get them to buy it straight up. But in the second one, you may have to go to offering a discount. Now, some people do browse abandonment 3. Some people do browse abandonment cart 3. I'm sorry, they do a third cart abandonment. They even do 3 checkouts. So checkout is the biggest win. If you're only going to have a few automations, you really have to have checkout abandonment, because anyone who already goes into the checkout and fills in their details and then quits, that's hardcore money. Like you should be converting checkout abandonment well over 20%. I would say if you're really good at what you're doing, you might be able to convert it like 30 or 40 or 50%. In my mind, and this is hard because a lot of executives, if you're working in a marketing department or you're working with a corporation, a lot of executives are like, I don't want to give up my gross margin. I don't want to give my gross profit. I don't want to give them another 10%, another 15%. Okay, well, here's my answer to that. Well, last year on 100,000 visitors to your site, or 1 million visitors to your site, you converted 1%. You converted 1.2%, right? How would you, and your average order value is $40, okay? So do the math. So that's on 1 million people, 1%, that's 10,000 people, right? 10,000, 10,000. So let's 1.2, 12,000 people times $40. I think that's $500,000, but I'll just check. Okay, so you did $500,000. I have a better idea. What if we go from 1.2 to 1.8%? Now do the math, okay? So let's be serious here. Like, our goal with e-commerce is to drive revenues. If we don't make all of our margin on day one, that's okay, right? We have an automation plan, so we're going to churn those people later on. The problem is I got to get them in the door, and I got to get them to spend. Checkout abandonment. Okay, because we're at minute 25. I got to move real fast now. And you can all read. So there's usually 3. There's 1 after 2 hours, 1 after 24, 1 after 24 after that. I would not consider offering a discount until maybe the third one, if I don't think I can get them to go. Let's move real fast now because I got 5 and 6 minutes. New customer thank you. This is really important. You have to thank a new customer. You cannot just sell them and think you are done. I see the worst new customer thank yous, like their text. You can't send somebody a text, new customer thank you. What it says is like, you don't mean anything to me. I don't care about you. Put a visual in, put something. I mean, spend a little time here. Get the graphic person on your team or hire someone to do something that's visually attractive. Thank the person, and don't give them anything, okay? Because they already just used the welcome, right? They used the welcome coupon, which you gave them, to buy something at a discount. So don't give them something a discount again, because now they're going to get used to that and expect everything is going to give you a discount, okay? Let's see. Next is repeat customer thank you. I think a repeat customer thank you is important, but don't do it every time. I usually like to do it for a new customer, someone who's new into the purchase. I like to do it after they placed a second order, right? Or you could do a third order. It depends. Like some companies, a lot of companies, usually most of your customers transact 1 or 2 times, right? You don't have a lot of customers who transact 3, 4, 5, 6 times. That's what automation's trying to do, right? We're trying to get them to convert more often. So the repeat can come after the second one. Here you can offer them a recommendation for products. The first they bought, they got a discount. The second they didn't get a discount, right? So the third, you may want to offer a discount, you may not want to. Again, it depends on what you're selling, how competitive your market is, time of year, so forth and so on. But you could give them something to encourage them in the next 30 days, right? So put a time limit of say 30 days on the item, so that they may not buy it now, but they have it in the back of their mind. Oh, I could get something. Excuse me. Pre-VIP. Pre-VIP is essentially you sit down, you do the segmentation of your database, and you look at your database and you say, okay, we have 5,000 customers, or we have 5,000 people who've made purchases. 4,300 have bought once. 600, or I don't know, that's too much. 300 have bought twice. 200 have bought 3 times. 100 bought 4, and 50 bought 5 times or something. So what you need to do is, in your mind, and you discuss this as a team, okay, we're going to say to be a VIP customer in a calendar year, I recommended calendar so you could restart it, or you could do every 12 months, but then you got to know when they started and program that in, which is a little tricky if you're not experienced. So the pre-VIP is essentially that email goes out after, let's say they've made their third purchase, and to become now they're a pre-VIP. To be a VIP, you need to have 4 purchases. You decide that up front as a group. Okay, so now I send an email 20 days after that third purchase and say, hey, are you interested in being a VIP? Here are the benefits that you'll get. You just need 1 more purchase to become a VIP. And you obviously need the benefits to be valuable. And then 25 days after that first email, you want them to get a follow-up reminder, hey, you only have, you need to make 1 more purchase to become VIP. And of course, once you become VIP, you're going to get a coupon. So the pre-VIP should not be a coupon, in my opinion, okay? Again, subject line, all of that's pretty basic and straightforward. The language should be short and effective. Don't, write, I see a lot of these emails that are like scroll. Don't go crazy, right? Like hard-hitting, fast action is what we're after, sort of like what I'm doing now. The VIP here is, okay, well, this is when you've now qualified, right? So you're going to get a VIP sale. This hits usually 4 hours after, or it could hit, and then the second email will hit 10 days later. And again, you have total freedom with the VIP. The goal is eventually, is anyone who's made 1, 2, or 3 sales, I need to get them to 4 or 5 or 5 plus, right? You want to try and get as many of those customers to upsell. That is the customer lifetime value. So if your average order is $40, right, your goal is, you know that if you can get 5 sales, that customer's probably worth, $200. If they're only doing 1 or 2 sales, you need to incentivize them and motivate them to transact more often, okay? You know they're interested. You have to pay attention to them and create a program that will get them moving forward. Last one's birthday. I love birthday because I feel like who doesn't want a greeting on my birthday, right? Like, as you get older, you tell less and less people about your birthday, and less people congratulate you on your birthday. Sometimes because they feel like, oh, you're getting old and I don't want to remind you, or because they just don't know, because a lot of people as they get older don't celebrate their birthday maybe with the same gusto as when they were younger. So in terms of birthday, I usually recommend a 3-part series, right? If you can, when they sign up to manage their newsletter, when they sign up to the welcome overlay, I would suggest right then and there that when they fill out their information, like the name, I don't know if you ask for their email. Obviously, you ask for their email. You can ask for their SMS. They might not give that to you. You can ask for their birthday. I would strongly do that. You can ask their preference, their gender. There's all sorts of questions you can ask, okay? How frequent you want to receive emails, so forth and so on. I recommend the birthday, okay? And then what we do with the birthday, essentially, oh, Carolyn, I agree. I do like getting birthday emails. Carolyn's on the chat. I like to do a sequence where the first email essentially is, if you don't have their email address, is, hey, we want to help you celebrate on your birthday. Let us know what it is, and we'll send you a special gift, before your big day, right? So essentially they say, if I give you my birthday, all right, you're going to give me a gift when it gets close to my birthday. I don't care. I know you're going to give me something good, probably 10% off. Me personally, I'd give them 20% off, because usually on birthdays, people tend to overindulge and self-spend, right? If I want to buy something that's $50 on my birthday and I'm feeling good, right? I wake up, I'm like, I'll spend $100, right? What's the big difference? $50 isn't going to matter at this point. On the second email, what I would suggest is I would say to them, or suggest to them, hey, we really want to give you something special on your birthday. If you give that information to us now, we'll give you a 10% off to use today. That, right, in parentheses, valid for the next 30 days. Okay, so now you might be able to get two deals out of it, right? You might get them to give you your birthday, so now you have a future potential order when the birthday comes up, and you give them 10% off now, so they'll make a purchase now, because they're thinking, why wait for my birthday? I'll give myself a gift now today, right? Or I'll use it for whatever reason. Okay, and then the third email comes back 2 weeks later, and here you could sort of remind them of what you're going to give them if they give you that email address. And you'd be surprised that there's usually a very, very strong success rate in terms of conversion on this, both in terms of immediate sales, as well as for those who want. Okay, as well as immediate sales right then and there, but sales down the road. So there's a lot of money that you can capture off birthday. It's a really big hitting win. I'm going to stop there. That's all I have time for. I'm a few minutes over. My name is JJ Abbott. I put my email address if any of you need it in the chat. You also have my phone number, and I hope that today and the rest of your days will be successful in your endeavors. So thank you for listening to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you all for joining us here today, and we'll look forward to seeing you in future sessions.